Chismosa, so many of you guys have been asking me to talk about the meeting between President Cheeto and Zelensky, and I kind of wanted to avoid this because my blood pressure was so high watching this video, but of course, I'm gonna dive into it, so let's talk about it. Now, here's the tea. If you guys don't already know what happened, basically, Zelensky went to the White House to talk about what is going on in the Ukraine, and of course, President Cheeto and his lackey over here just were going in on Zelensky for absolutely no reason. And the craziest part of this whole thing is that they decided to let the media in on all of this. For what reason, I have absolutely no idea. But the entire time you could see that Zelensky is trying to keep his cool and he is just trying to find a way to help the Ukraine. And that's all that he's ever tried to do. He is trying to defend Ukraine from Russia and he's looking for support. Now, obviously, Biden and his administration showed support, so he went over and he tried to kiss the ring so he can try to save his people. But the entire time, the way that President Cheeto is treating Zelensky is absolutely ridiculous. And the VP of being a lackey was over here like, oh, you know what? We have to solve this with diplomacy. We have to solve this with diplomacy. We can't do this. We can't do that. And Zelensky is like, bro, we have tried to do it the diplomatic way. We have tried it. We have sat down. We've been with Putin. We've signed things. And they have just gone completely against all diplomacy. What can we do? And instead of giving an answer, the lackey over here, he was like, you know what? Instead of doing all of this, you should be thanking us. You should be thanking us for everything. You should show some gratitude. And the whole time you could tell that Zelensky is losing here. He's like, bro, I am thankful. I am grateful. But you guys need to understand, like, we have done everything. What diplomacy? What can we do? And of course, there's no answers. Nobody ever has any answers. All they have is thoughts and concepts of what they think should be an answer, and not even that at this point. I think the last nail in the coffin for me that brought my blood pressure to an unmanageable rate was when the president decided to have the media or whoever it was behind them ask questions to Zelensky, and instead of asking like actual questions that has substance, the first thing the dude asked is like, oh, do you own a suit? Why aren't you wearing a suit? Like, will you ever wear a suit? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And I love the way that Zelensky is like, yo, I'm in war. When we're done with all of that, I'll wear a suit. Maybe a suit that's better than yours. Maybe one that's more expensive. Maybe one that's way nicer. Maybe one that's cheaper. Who knows? But right now, we're in a war. And I'm trying to be here to help my people. And I'd like to point out the stark difference between when Zelensky went to talk to Biden and when he went to talk to Cheeto and this MF over here. Because obviously things went very different. And I'm sure we could say the same thing about how things went so differently when President Cheeto was amongst a genocidal maniac. He sure treated this guy real nice. But when all is said and done, at the end of the day, I think Zelensky actually inadvertently got exactly what he wanted, because even though the president was being a complete a-hole, all these other countries came and rallied behind him and showed his support. And you know what? Cheeto is livid right now because he wanted to be Zelensky's last hope. He wanted to be the last Coke in the desert, and instead he looks like a jackass as always. But anyways, guys, all that being said, I am very curious to know what you guys thought about all of this. I'm very, very curious to know your opinions. Let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow for more gossip, chisme, and all things tea.